Hi everyone, welcome to your video on sales tax. A very important video for you as you will be dealing with sales tax the rest of your life. So let's make sure we know how to do sales tax and know how to tip people and add percents to numbers. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to talk about sales tax and total cost. And your job today is a lot to find the total cost. Sometimes you might be asked to find the amount of the tax as well. There's going to be two methods to find a total cost of something, and both are just dealing with 100%. You're either adding first or you're adding later. So pick which one works best for you, and that is just fine. So think about if you're going to the store and you're buying a video game that originally cost $74, and then there's sales tax of $5 or 5%, excuse me. We're wondering what the total cost that you'll pay for that video game will be after sales tax. So there's one method, and one method is that you add the sales tax to the regular price, and that's kind of not written here. So the first thing we do is turn the percent into a decimal. So if we have 5%, that's the same as 5 out of 100. So that's the same as 2 decimal places to the left, or 0.05. What we do with that then is then multiply that by the total price. And when we do that, we get 3.7, but since we're dealing with money, I'd add a 0 on the end for the hundredths place. The step that's not written here is then add tax amount to the price. So we would add that then to the price of $74. Notice line up the decimals. We find out that we'd be paying $77.70 for that video game. Another way to do this is to add the tax percent to 100%. Because when you're going to the store, you are expected to pay 100% of the cost of the item, unless there's a discount, which we'll learn about later. So if it's 100%, I'm expected to pay for $74 worth of that item. So first thing I'm going to do again is take the percent and add that to 100%. So I'm expected to pay 105% of that cost because I'm paying 100% for the item and an additional 5% sales tax. So then I'm going to change that percent to a decimal. So again, it's just per cent or per 100. So we move it 2 places. So 105% is the same as 1 5/100. We're then going to multiply that. We're paying 105% of, remember, that's 74. When I multiply those together, I get 77.70. So either way works. Remember, just pick which one works best for you. Is it easier for you to find the tax and then add later, or easier to add the percents first and then just multiply? You pick. So let's try a couple here. Clothes. We're being asked to find what is the total cost of a sweatshirt if the regular price is $42 and the sales tax is 5.5%. First thing I'm going to want to do is make sure that I know 5.5 is the same as written like this, 5.5%. So that if I were to choose to change that to a decimal, 2 places to the left, that's the same as 0.055. That is the same as 5.5%. So I'm going to do the percent way and then add seconds. So I'm finding the sales tax of a $42 item. And I find that together is $2.31. Well, that's just the sales tax. That's not the total cost. So if I were to write that, I would pause and think about my reasonableness. It's not reasonable for a total cost. So I add that to the cost of the sweatshirt using my decimal rules, lining up by the decimal, and adding to find out that I would pay $44.31 for that sweatshirt with that tax. How about kayaking, one of my favorite summer activities at the lake? So we're planning to buy a kayak, and its cost at the store is $1,849. He lives in North Carolina, where there's a sales tax of 4.25%. So we're being asked to calculate the sales tax by finding 4.25%. So I change that to a decimal of, notice, the amount of the kayak. So when I do that, notice it's a large amount, so then the tax is going to be more. I get this long number. Hopefully we know that when we're dealing with money, we would round to the hundredth place, to the nearest cent. So since this is 2, I'm going to less than 4 or less, let it rest. And that's my tax. And I'm going to find the total cost by adding that sales tax to the amount of the kayak. I find out that I would pay $1,927.58 for the kayak with that sales tax in North Carolina. Another way to do that was you could do 100%, 104.25% times the original, and you would have ended up at the same place. So here are a couple for you to try. This is where it may be a good place to pause if you're feeling ready, and then check in on your answers. So the first one says, if the sales tax rate is 7.25% in California, then how much would you pay in Los Angeles, so city in California, for a pair of shoes that are $39? So one way is to do 100% plus that. So 100% plus, which give me 107.25%, which as a decimal is 1.0725. I'm not going around the percent because I need all of that, times that 39. And I would find out that would be 41, several decimals after the fact. So that's approximately, rounding up since it's money, $41.83. Number 2, the price of a new car is $29,990. And the sales tax on the vehicle is 6.5%. So we're wondering how much is the sales tax being charged. So in this case, when I'm asked that, I know I need to find out how much sales tax exactly. So for that first question, I need to do this way and find 6.5% of and when I do that, so I'm going to do, remember, make sure you move the decimal 2 places, and I'm multiplying that times the cost of the car as it is, and that means that the tax is $1,949.35. So that's the tax, and then the total cost, I add that, comma, and decimal, I add that sales tax amount to the cost of the car for a total of $31,939.35 would be the total cost of the car. For number 3 then, sales tax rate 7.375% in New York State. How much sales tax would you pay? So again, this is asking for the sales tax, not the total, so you have to be careful on a pair of $34 shoes. So what I would do then is just take the percent as a decimal and multiply that by the cost of the shoes, and I would end up with, I think it would end up to be 2.5075. So if I made that a money amount, that's approximately $2.51 in sales tax. Be careful on what you're reading. This first question says, at Best Buy they have 42-inch TV that sells for $1,250 and is on sale. We're going to look at that later. If you want to try this one, go ahead now. But that's going to be our video for tomorrow, so I'm going to hold off on doing that one, and I'm going to jump to number 5. If your cell phone bill was $67.82 and there was a 7.5 late fee, a late fee is added on, so we're going to find out what our bill would be. So we have to pay for 100% of this. So you pay for 100% of that plus the 7.5. So we're paying for 107.5%, which as a decimal, move it 2 places per 100. So I'm multiplying the cost of my bill times that percent, and I get 72.9065, but since it's money, I round, so I look to the thousandths. 5 or more raise the score. I'm paying $72.91 for that bill. Last one, and then you're set to go, and hopefully you can come to school with really good questions. This one has a little bit more elements to it. So it's saying that you and 3 friends go out to eat, and your bill was $72.50, and there's amount of sales tax, and then you're going to tip. So we're wondering how much each person will pay. So first we have to find out how much the bill is, because you tip on the total bill after sales tax. So we're going to pay for 100% of our bill plus our sales tax. So we're paying for 106.75% of the bill. So we're going to pay for 1.0675 as a decimal of $72.50. So that means your total bill, we end up with this amount, which in money we would round, be 77.39 is the total bill. That's the bill after tax. And then we want to tip on that. So we want to tip 15%. So this is where you could do 15% and add. So our tip is going to be 15% of this after I multiply. So we're going to tip $11.61. So then I add that to the bill, and then I realize that we're paying $89 total with the tax and the tip. But the question is, how much does each person pay? So what I have to do with that 89 is divide that by 4, because 4 people are splitting the bill. And when I do that, I find out that each person is paying $22.25 for their portion. So I hope that you rewatch the sections that you need to, you write down questions that you have, and that you really try your best to understand how adding percents onto money works, because you're going to do this for forever. So good luck.